So this experience, as it unfolds, moment by moment, letting attention ride the waves of the breath, coming and going. And again, if the mind is wandering off, that's what minds do. Noticing you're awake again, and if you choose, returning your attention back to the movements of the breath, beginning again and again. As we come to the end of this practice, remembering that the breath is always available to you in any moment. It can help to gather your mind when it feels scattered or restless. It can help steady you when you feel unbalanced or under pressure, bringing you back to a sense of yourself as complete and whole. And it can remind us that each moment is anew. So letting go of the attention to the breath, letting that fade into the background. Allowing things to be just as they are. Allowing yourself to be just as you are.
And now, staying in this state, maintaining with your eyes closed, but shifting your position if you feel it would be more comfortable. Having established ourselves in a stable and present state, we'll now engage in a reflection on the year that has been completed. A kind of review, reflection, or taking stock. Because when we wish to befriend something, it's good to have a close look. When we wish to step forward, it's helpful to be standing stably, firmly planted where we are right now. So allowing your mind to begin to recollect the events of this year just past. without selecting or focusing, but allowing just a stream of images or memories or feelings to come up related to this past year. Knowing that you only need to open the door of memory a crack, and that if it feels like too much, or if anything comes up that feels too difficult, you may also give yourself permission to compassionately close up and come back to your refuge in the breathing, or to stop the practice altogether. So just to take a few moments. And as images and memories come up, not needing to hold on to anything or enter into anything or start to analyze or ask why or what does it mean, but just noticing this flow of experience. So when one thing, one memory or experience comes into mind, you can recall it and look at it. And then whenever feels right, let it go, let it move on, and let another arise in its place. And now taking some time to narrow the focus, letting those moments from the previous year that you feel made you happy, that you feel were nourishing or satisfying moments, arise in your mind. Taking some time to just allow yourself to be nourished. Perhaps memories of a conversation with friends on Zoom, perhaps memories of a walk in nature, perhaps a certain accomplishment in your professional life or your personal life. And perhaps surmounting a difficulty, but allowing any image or experience that feels satisfying, that made you smile. Perhaps even some things that you feel a sense of pride in. And taking a moment to notice how it feels when you let yourself be nourished by these moments of satisfaction and happiness that are also still present inside of you. And now shifting your focus, if you like, staying with these satisfying moments that are nourishing you. Or if it feels right, if you feel ready, shifting your focus to another side of your experience, because everything in life has different sides. And allowing some memories, moments that have been difficult in this past year. But perhaps imagining that you can turn down the volume on those moments, that you can even mute them if you like. Giving yourself permission not to do this if it feels like too much. Or again, feeling as if you could turn down the volume. Or feeling that you're viewing it from a distance. Not needing to hold on to or analyze those moments, but just noticing that they happened. Letting one moment after another arise in your awareness, and then move on. And as you do, being a friend to yourself, seated here peacefully, safe, and stably at this moment, speaking to the you having that experience in the past in a kind voice, and saying, "Oh, my dear, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I know that was difficult. I'm here for you." Or any words that connect for you, or perhaps a kind smile. But just offering yourself the energy of care and friendship. Remembering that if it feels like too much, you can let that door close and come back to the safe harbor of your breath. And perhaps also taking a moment to say, "Oh, sweetheart, I'm so proud of you. Look what you've come through. Well done." Or again, other words that connect for you when recognizing the difficulties you faced and have come through in the past year. And as we go a step further in this process, taking a moment to notice if you have any regrets about the year that's just passed. Knowing that this can be quite difficult, so again, giving yourself some permission to be human, and permission to close if you need to. But noticing if you have any regrets about this year just passed. Any things that you said and wish you hadn't said, or done and wish you hadn't done, or things you wish you had said and didn't say, or things you wish you had done and perhaps didn't do. Recognizing that we can't control external circumstances. And taking a moment to say to yourself, having regrets is a normal part of being human. I'm not bad or broken or weak. I'm a human being, like other human beings, living through a difficult time. And if it feels right to you, letting a little bit of energy of forgiveness arise in your heart for these things that I regret. I hope to learn to forgive myself. I want to learn to see myself as a human being, as someone who's not perfect and as someone whose life is not perfect. And I wish to learn how to forgive myself when my actions or choices are not perfect. And without forcing yourself, without trying to coerce yourself, letting yourself be as you are, letting yourself be where you are at this moment. And taking a moment to just come back to the breathing. To feel this precious body breathing right here, right now. And to recognize This is the tapestry that a human life consists of. Moments of satisfaction and happiness, moments of difficulty, things we're proud of and things we regret. These are all part of a life well lived. And if it feels right, perhaps taking a moment to smile at both, to smile at the things that you feel satisfied with. And if you can, without forcing yourself, perhaps even to smile at the difficulty that you have passed through and come to the other side. And taking a further moment to ask yourself, what have I learned from this past year? What is it that I know now that I did not know then? What is it that I know about myself? Or about how to live? Or about others? And seeing if you can just be open to any insight or awareness that might arise when you pose this question. Without needing for it to be right or wrong, but just see what comes up when you pose the question in an open state. What have I learned from this past year? What do I know now that I didn't know then? What additional wisdom has been written across my heart from these 12 months of living? And now letting go of that question, letting go of any effort, and just taking a moment to come back and rest in your body. Feeling however the energy of your body is right now. Giving yourself permission to be just as you are right now. And if it feels right, perhaps curving the corners of your mouth very slightly upwards in a smile. And offering yourself a few kind words. Oh, my dear friend, I'm so proud of you. I know you're not perfect, but I know you're doing your best. Or again, any words that connect for you. In a moment, you'll hear the sound of a bell. And we'll invite you to open your eyes, and we'll stay in silence for about 1 or 2 minutes before the next practice, just to allow you to reflect or make some notes if you like. So please open your eyes, but if possible, staying in silence, just taking a moment to absorb this and reflect, feeling free to note anything you'd like to remember. Now we're going to shift to a gradually shift to a slightly different practice. The practice we've just done can bring a lot of energy into the body. And when we've just done a practice that brings a lot of energy into the body, it's not always useful to continue sitting still. So we're going to try a bit of a different kind of practice right now. Siri?
So since we've been in stillness also, it's nice to give ourselves the gift of movement. So know that this is invitational, and I'll be offering very slow and gentle stretches. I don't know what your injuries are, so listen to the wisdom of your body and do what you feel is right for you. Feel free to adapt, adjust. I'll do this and offer it standing up. If standing is not accessible to you, then you can do this sitting down too. So if you'd like to join, I actually need to stay connected to my cord because the sound doesn't travel very far on this computer. So my instructions are only guidelines. So do what you feel is right. And I really encourage you to bring in this attitude of beginner's mind when we have this mind of doing things as if for the very first time. It opens us up to so many possibilities. But if we have an expert mind, thinking, oh, I'm an expert at moving my body, then it actually closes down our possibilities when we think we know more than we do. So the invitation is no need to be an expert, perhaps stepping into this space of not knowing, being with the body as if for the very first time. So I'll invite you to stand with your feet about hip distance apart, a slight bend in the knees. Arms relaxed by your side. Shoulders melting down. And you can have your eyes closed or glancing down towards the space in front of you, whatever you wish. Sensing into this energy body. feeling the energy in the feet, the legs, and also what other sensations are here. The heart beating, heat, coolness, tightness, openness. Just being really curious, as if you're feeling this body for the very first time. So feeling the strong connection of the feet with the floor. And then taking your arms out to be parallel to the floor, reaching them away from each other. And then continue until your arms are reaching up above your head, fingers towards the ceiling, the sky, sensing into what's here in the body now. Growing taller on the in-breath. And then grabbing your right wrist with your left hand. Growing taller on the in-breath, and on the out-breath, bending over to the left. And feeling all the sensations, that lovely stretch on the right side of the body. Gaining length on the in-breath and folding a little bit further on the out-breath, but not going beyond your limit. And you can be playful with this, having a playful attitude. And coming back up to center and switching the grip, so grabbing the left wrist with the right hand, growing taller on the in-breath and leaning over to the right on the out-breath. Back up to center, reaching up, and then seeing if you can stay with the sensations of the hands floating through space as they come back down. Each moment, a new beginning. And when you come back to steady standing, just feeling the effects of having done that practice, that stretch. There might be heightened awareness in the fingers, the forearms, the tingling, or maybe not. Feeling yourself standing here again, steady. And then taking your chin down to your chest and start rolling down into a forward fold, keeping a very generous bend in your knees. So rolling down and letting the upper body, the torso, the arms, the head hang heavy. The more bend you have in your knees, the more release comes out of the lower back. And you can swing around here, letting your arms dangle or grabbing the opposite elbows. Nodding your head, enjoying as best you can. And then slowly rolling back up. And then to bring more energy, I'll invite you to take your arms out in front of you and actually at a slight angle upwards. And then bend your knees and sit back into an invisible chair, keeping the weight in the heels and feeling the length from the lower back, spine, arms reaching upwards. If it's okay for your neck, you can glance upwards, noticing how you can gain more energy this way, lift the mood even. Feeling the muscles at work in your legs, and letting the face be soft. That doesn't need to be tense right now. You might notice that the heart starts beating, the breath gets deeper. And then coming back to steady standing. Noticing what the body feels like right now in this moment. And having a lot of appreciation for this body that has been taking care of us as best it can for our whole lives. And now taking your weight over to the left foot, arms out parallel to the floor again. And then taking your right foot out to the side, so this is a balancing pose. You might like to glance at a little dot, maybe 2 or 3 meters on the floor in front of you to help you stay balanced. And you can move that right foot around. Be playful here and get really curious about what's happening in that standing leg. To stay balanced, the body makes these little micro movements, keeping us up. Coming back to standing, and we'll go to the other side. Arms out, weight in the right foot, left foot out to the side. You can do a little dance with that left foot if you choose. Super curious about all those moment-to-moment happenings in that leg, in the body. And then back to standing. And now checking in if there's any place in the body that feels pleasant, comfortable, having gratitude for that, appreciating that. And if there's any areas of tension or tightness, taking your attention there and then moving in a way that would make the body feel really good. So for about 2 more minutes, you can move however you wish, moving in a way that feels really good, keeping that attitude of beginner's mind. You might try a stretch that you've never tried before, bringing in new possibilities, but something that's not going to be harmful. So being safe. Really feeling into this body. And feel free to move quickly if that's what the body needs. Dance around your room if you wish. Or stay in stillness, whatever's right for you. And when you're ready, you can come back to sitting or lying down, and we'll move on to the next practice. Okay. So this next practice is going to use the imagination, visualization. And some of us are really good at visualizing and imagining. If this is not you, if it's difficult to visualize or imagine, then be easy on yourself and just see what unfolds. Make it your own as best you can. Be playful, use your own style. If you find that during this practice you start getting up in your head and intellectualizing, see if you can just notice that and drop back into the body and see what bubbles up from your heart. Remembering that if anything uncomfortable comes up during this practice, you can always choose to close, have a cup of tea, go to the restroom, do something else, up to you. Okay, so getting comfortable again, seated or lying down. Sensing back into the weight of you firmly connected here. Body relaxed, mind awake, well as awake as it can be in this moment. Sensing back into the familiar breath coming and going. And what is it like now in this new moment? The whole body being breathed. Settling deeper and deeper on the out breath. And now, letting the awareness of the breath move into the background. And we'll shift our attention to the more creative aspect of the mind, using the imagination as best we can. Imagine you're in a place that feels comfortable and safe. And it might be outdoors, somewhere in nature, a park, maybe a beach, in the mountains. It can be a real place or an imaginary place. It's a beautiful day, gorgeous weather. And you're the only one here. The only one here in this place where you feel peaceful and safe. So letting yourself enjoy being here. Visualizing the place, the colors, the details. There might be a scent in the air. Allowing yourself to be comfortable in this place. And then you start to notice that someone starts walking towards you. And as this person approaches, you notice this person is radiant, calm, joyful. And you soon realize that the person walking up to you is yourself 1 year from now, 1 year from today. Yourself 1 year from now, 1 year from today. And your future self has flourished, thrived. They seem confident, content, and upbeat. Your future self has met difficulties. They've met struggles and challenges along the way, but done so with wisdom and care. So as you see the face of your future self, what do you notice? You invite your future self to sit next to you, seeing and sensing this person in as much detail as possible. Allowing yourself to feel what it's like to be in their presence. Receiving the energy of this future self. And you ask your future self the following questions. What is it you most remember about the year 2021? What is it you most remember about the year 2021? So what has your future self done in the last year in order to have flourished, in order to have grown in positive ways. What has your future self done differently? Maybe they decided not to do something, and this in itself helped them to flourish and grow. So taking a moment to hear the answer, listening to what they might have to say. And if no words come, that's okay too. Just staying open to receive. Still just enjoying the good company, this presence that is here, warm and friendly, a blessing in itself. And you notice the attitudes, the qualities that your future self embodies. And you ask, what do I need to be most aware of to get me from where I am now to where you are? And perhaps the future self talks about attitudes or qualities of mind and heart that were cultivated over the past year. And as you sit together, taking a few more moments to enjoy your future self's presence. Thanking your future self for the advice and for this visit. And then bidding them farewell for now. And you still sitting in your comfortable place, allowing yourself to savor what just happened, this visit. You may like to reflect on some of the words you received. And before this meditation comes to a close, remember that your future self is a part of you. The presence that you felt is a deep part of yourself. And the images and words your future self used, they came from your own inner wisdom, warmth, and compassion, which is always within you, especially when you need it most. Their inner wisdom is your inner wisdom. So now beginning to release the visualization Coming back to feeling the body sitting, the body whole. Just feeling what you're feeling. Allowing yourself to be exactly as you are. And after the sound of the bell, feel free to open your eyes if you wish, if they were closed. And you'll have about 2 minutes to reflect or write down any notes, anything that came up that you might like to remember.
So now we're going to transition into another practice, a practice of mindful self-compassion that we call living with a vow, which is a practice for helping to set our direction. We can think about this as having a compass. A compass is something extraordinarily useful in life. A compass is an instrument that reliably shows the direction. Whether it's dark, whether there's a storm, whether you're in a place you know or you don't know, the compass shows you which way is north. And the compass isn't judging you. It's just showing. It's very useful in life to have internal compasses. And in fact, you do already. You have things that matter to you, things that are important to you. And as you were just seeing if you could tap into in the practice that Siri just guided, you have aspirations, you have intentions. So in this practice, living with a vow, we're going to try and calibrate, set, connect with our internal compass for the coming year. One of the things that's important about our internal compass is that many of us have relied on harsh guardians to help guide us in life. Guilt, self-blame, self-criticism, kind of punishing and criticizing ourselves when we feel that if we're supposed to be going north and we find we're going southwest. That we tend to be harsh with ourselves in one form or another. And again, I want to call these guardians. The intention here is that these things are meant to help us But especially when we've reached adulthood, we may find that our harsh guardians are not as useful as they may have been in the past, if they were ever useful at all, because sometimes our harsh guardians turn out to not have been useful. So in this practice, living with a vow, we're going to try and get in contact with another kind of guide, another kind of guardian, our compassionate guardian, who wishes to support and guide us as we try to live according to our vow. So just as we begin this practice, I'd like you to just start as we ease into it, even before we close our eyes or go into a meditative state, just to review the exercise you just did and bring up some of those things that feel like what is your intention, what is your aspiration for this coming year, based on the practice that Siri just led. What is it that feels important to you? What is it that feels important to you in how you'd like to go forward in this coming year? And again, not needing for the answer to be right or wrong, and not needing for the answer to be perfect. It's okay for it to be provisional. You can change your mind later if you find it's not working. But playing with this for today. So let me invite you now to close your eyes again. Or if you like to have your eyes open with a soft gaze, whatever feels right, and to bring your mind back to your body here and now. Just arriving here, being with this body, taking a moment to feel each precious, nourishing, life-giving breath. And perhaps just feeling the sensation of your body sitting here. Feeling the stability. Perhaps feeling yourself solidly seated like a mountain. And now, if it feels right, bringing into your mind the thing that feels important to you for the coming year, just letting it come up in the form of a few words. Words that might function as compass points. And again, letting this be a gentle flow. It doesn't have to be perfect or correct. It's an unfolding aspiration. What feels important to you? about how to go forward in this coming year. And having brought this up in your mind, seeing if you can now fashion this into a promise, selecting one thing that feels important to you or for this exercise and fashioning it into a promise. So for example, if one of the things that feels important to you is courage, making it into a promise, perhaps, I wish to face each day with as much courage as I can. Or if the thing that felt important to you was kindness, you might say, I'm determined to have as much kindness as I can day by day. Or I vow to live with kindness, or may I have kindness. But letting the words rise up from your own heart, but making it into a vow to yourself. Remembering it doesn't have to be perfect and you can change the vow later. And when you've found some words, starting to breathe in and out, and with each breath cycle, for every time you breathe in and out, gently and firmly repeating these words of aspiration, gently repeating this promise to yourself. I promise to. I'm determined to. And as you stay with these words, if it feels right for you, if it connects for you, I'd like you to imagine a face that goes with these words. This face might be your future self, you 1 year from now. This might be the face, any face that has meaning for you, or it might just be a rainbow or light. That this is the face of your vow. And as you repeat these words over and over, please know that your vow is smiling at you. When your mind wanders, just coming back to it. Your vow is not frowning at you. Your vow is not judging you or shaking a finger at you for those times when you were not perfect. Your vow knows what's in your heart. Your vow believes in you. Your vow wants you to live as well as you can each day according to what matters to you. Your vow is smiling and inviting you forward. To begin and begin again. Now let go of your effort, let go of the practice, and just come back to rest quietly in your own body. Just noticing how the energy of your body is right now. How the energy of your body is when you connect with your vow, your aspiration, your intention. Letting yourself be as you are and taking a moment to remember that the vow is a guardian who's always available for you. Anytime, even if you forget or you get off track for a week or a month or months, you can always stop and come back and close your eyes, and your vow will be there for you, smiling at you, inviting you forward. Your vow does not care what happened last week. Your vow only cares about the next step. Gently opening your eyes.
So we're coming to the end of this mini retreat, and it's only been 2 hours. Maybe you've started remembering what direction you'd like to be going on in 2021. Maybe not. It's all a process. And one thing that I find really difficult is remembering the vow, remembering the intention, the wish, whatever you'd like to call it. And if this intention, this vow is going to have any impact on us, it needs to be remembered again and again. So I'd like to just share some tips on how to remember. And then I'll be asking some of you to also share tips, because I know this Zoom room is full of wisdom. So one way is to write down the vow, the wish. And some people like to place it next to their bed where they see it each morning to remind them. Some people like to write it on the bathroom mirror. Up to you. So someplace that you'll see it on a regular basis. Some people like to start each morning by saying the vow, reminding them, doing a little ritual, lighting a candle. If you have a regular meditation practice, you might like to start each meditation with with this intention. Visualizing yourself, as Ben kind of led us to do. Visualize yourself embodying the intentions. So you have like a vision of where you want to go. That vision is the seed that we can nourish. I like to use the insight timer. I'll just go to the timer. It's an app you can find, and I'm sure there's others. But I like to set it for 8 to 10 hours and have an interval bell every hour or every half hour. And it just is one bell that goes off. And that reminds me to come back into presence if I wasn't, and just remind me again and again, because we know from neuroplasticity, what you practice grows stronger. And some people like to connect their vow to something physical that they do. For example, each time they go through a door and put their hand on a doorknob and open the door, pausing and remembering. Some people like to add it to mindful walking. Each step, a word or the vow. A friend who was visiting, she was collecting all these rocks, and she paints on the rocks or writes in permanent marker just a word to help her remember. And she places them somewhere in her home to remind her. So those, oh, Ben was showing us a rock. So those are some examples, but if you have ways that help you remember, if you could go to the chat and mention them so you can share them, and we might like to try them out. Tips on how to remember our intentions. What do you do? Post-it notes? Yep. Everywhere. Journaling before bed on how it showed up in my day. Yeah, thank you. Ben, do you have any you'd like to add? Music or songs, playlists? Yes, very, very good idea. If only you could share your songs with everyone here. Phone screensaver on the laptop, gratitude journal. Using my trigger as a reminder, for example, kids fighting, pausing, and remembering my intentions.
I think that it is very powerful to see if we can use the thing that trigger, as Libby has mentioned here, the trigger, which is ordinarily something we respond to with tension, aversion, hatred, anger. Although if we can gradually start to use the trigger as a kind of bell, right? Or as a signal that helps us remembering that our joys and our pains are both part of this process, and they can both be useful to us. Our joys nourish us, and our pains of daily life, like being a parent, as Libby mentions, can also become something that we use to gradually live according to what is important to us. An accountability buddy. Oh, so many wonderful suggestions. Yeah, we'd like to invite everyone. It sounds like some people already have well-cultivated practices, and if anything connects for you, perhaps select one. And perhaps before the end of the day today, see if you might start putting it into action somewhere in your life. Write yourself a little note card. For many years, I used to carry around a note card in my wallet, which had some of these aspirations written down. You know, before we all had screens we carried around.
What I really appreciate is how all these ideas are so very different for each one of us. Like there's the music, there's feeling it in the body, the movement, the drawing, the visualization. So knowing what your gifts are and using them to help you remember.
And whatever it is, seeing if you can make it that compassionate guardian. That it does not need to operate under a principle of blame and criticism. Although again, if it does, it just means you're a normal human being. But to see if we can cultivate that compassionate guardian, that friend who's smiling at us and who wants us to be our best. Siri, there's a question in the chat bar.
Advice for those of us who struggle a bit with coming up with one in the first place. Yeah, it is a process, and there are a variety of ways to get quiet and start bringing them up for ourselves. There's meditation practices, there's journaling. Yeah, it's a process, and just see what keeps coming up. There are a variety of meditations. I don't know if right here is a time to share them, but if you'd like to email, I can share a few that might help. Ben, do you have ideas?
And Siri, if you might want to write your email in the chat bar then, Siri, so that people have it, because it wasn't part of the sign up. You know, the idea of struggle is a very interesting idea, because when, and that's mentioned in the message there, struggle implies at least two different things that are in opposition, or appear to be in opposition, which means that something has come up and something else has reacted to it. I had a certain impulse and then part of me said, that's wrong. Or I had a certain impulse and then part of me said, oh, is that right? Should it be that way? And then struggle comes up. And this can happen in many different ways. So I think that when we do struggle, we might also notice, what is it that came up that part of us then was not satisfied with, did not believe in, or felt was wrong? Just to notice. Maybe, again, we don't have to decide or resolve the struggle right at the moment, but to notice and write it out provisionally. Write it out, write it out on a Post-it and just leave it for a week, and then come back to it, or offer compassion for that struggle. Those are my initial thoughts, and just do that, because that's like watering seeds and fertilizing a garden. Things will grow. We do have to start to wrap up now, but we have two things we'd like to share with you. I'll share one and then Siri can share the other. Some of you may know that this is the second time we've done this Sunday morning mini retreat. At the end in December, we did gratitude mini retreat on a Sunday morning. Today we're doing Befriending This New Beginning. Siri and I enjoy these quite a bit, and it's such a pleasure to see so many familiar faces. It's a nice opportunity. So we want to let you know that we're going to offer another one, although it's not set up yet. We're going to offer another mini retreat on Sunday, February the 14th. on Valentine's Day here in Asia. It will be Saturday. For some of you, it will be Saturday, February the 13th, and we'll send out emails about it. And we're going to talk about dealing with some of the difficulties of being in work on a, we haven't decided yet, but we're going to work on being in relationships and self-compassion for being in relationships with others. And so we hope we'll see you there again. And we have another announcement we'd like to share. Siri?
I was trying to find it on the web. So March 6th and 7th, it's a weekend, we'll be offering a 2-day core skills in mindful self-compassion. And there's been a Facebook event. It's also on a landing page on my website. So 2 full days to just drop into these practices and skills that can be so helpful in today's crazy world. Ben, would you like me to find it and share?
Yes, I kind of would.
You can continue talking.
Okay, yeah, so on March, for those, I know that many of you have already taken the Mindful Self-Compassion course, and it's a pleasure to see you. But not everybody has the time for the 8-week course. So Siri and I are going to offer what we call the Core Skills Workshop, which is a 2-day version of the 8-week course going through the basics. And we're going to offer that live online on Saturday and Sunday, March 6th and 7th. So if you'd like to share self-compassion with others, or again, if it for people's schedules, we'll email you. We just want to let you know about that. And Siri's going to share the link for the Facebook event, and if you follow either one of our Facebook pages, you'll be able to stay in the loop. Siri's Facebook page is Mindfulness Thailand, and my Facebook page is Mindful Self-Compassion Thailand. So how's that going?
Not well. I have somebody help me with social media because I'm challenged in that area. But
it's okay.
Why don't we?
Yeah. So we'll follow up with an email. And again, if you want to get more information, you should feel free to follow us on Facebook or wait for the emails. Either way, I'd like to guide a quick departure practice. Then if anyone would like to type anything else in the chat, we'll unmute briefly so that we can say goodbye. So let me invite everyone to not do anything special, but just take a moment to bring your awareness back in whatever form connects for you, and just feel how it feels after these 2 hours. What do you notice in your body, in your heart right now? If you notice any good sensations, any warm sensations, any sensations of resolve, taking some moments to just savor that. And giving yourself permission to be as you are, giving yourself permission for this experience to be however it's been. Nothing to criticize, nothing to... And then taking a moment to open your eyes and look at the screen, to see the other faces here, and to remember very clearly, you're not alone. For every aspiration you feel, there is a world of people aspiring and doing their best. Just like you. Thank Thank you so much, everyone. Now, if you'd like to say goodbye, you can unmute yourselves as we say goodbye for a few moments.
Thank you and
Thank
goodbye.
you.
And thank you, Siri.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Everybody.
Great to see you,
Thank you,
Bronwyn.
everyone, for being here.
Thank you, Ben and Siri,
everyone.
and
Thank you.
Great
everyone.
to see you. Hey, Tanya.
Bye.
Hey, Vashanti. Hey,
Bye,
Libby.
everyone. Bye, Sarah. Bye.
Hey,
Bye, Basanti. Bye,
hey,
Ken.
Daryl.
Thank you.
Bye, Ivan.
John.
Thank you,
Thanks,
you
everyone.
guys.
Hey, Karen.
Hi,
Bye.
George.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye, Kel.
Hey, Boom.
Bye, Ben.
Bye, Alicia. Bye, Gwen.
Hi, Ben.
และอยากขอบคุณ
Bye,
เพื่อนคนไทยที่เข้าร่วม
Bye,
ด้วยครับผม
ขอบคุณค่ะเบน ขอบคุณสิริค่ะ
เป็นดีใจมากที่พี่บูมเข้าได้นะครับ
ขอบคุณมากค่ะ
ครับสวัสดีครับครับเป็นดีใจมากที่พี่เจริญเข้าได้ครับ
Hey, there's Romy. Bye. Bye, Romy.
Hi, Alisara.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Catherine. There you are.
Hi, Romy.
Hey, Gwen.
Hey,
Hey, Kim.
Hey, Ben. I've never heard you speak Thai. It was great.
I'm just thanking my Thai friends,
Yes.
my noble Thai friends who were able to join us.
Wonderful.
Love all your
Hi.
smiling face, It's a smile of compassion, and we connected with our compassion. Really wonderful.
Okay.
2 hours is very fun.